Hey everyone, Cooper here, host of the fine podcast you're listening to. I just want to let you know that the episode you clicked on has a format that is very heavily inspired by a podcast called The Bookening. To be clear, our thoughts and opinions in this episode are our own, but the format is very similar to this podcast. I just wanted to give you a heads up and give credit where it is due. With that out of the way, enjoy the show.
Welcome back to Bookin' It. Today, Bookin' It will be discussing Ember's End and Watership Down. Howdy folks, and welcome back to Bookin' It. I am not your humble and eloquent host, Cooper Cobbs. I am Tanner Lewis, and joining me today is my good friend Isaiah Ryatsky. How are you, Isaiah?
Hey, I'm good. How are you? Voice crack.
Doing
How are you?
fine. So right now, Cooper is traveling back from a chiropractor's appointment. He will be joining us in a few minutes. But until then, me and Isaiah were just going to discuss some of Isaiah's thoughts on Watership Down and since he wasn't on the past few episodes of Watership Down. So Isaiah, your thoughts.
All right. Well, first I'm going to give my baggage really quickly as part of my thoughts. But my baggage for Watership Down, I'd never heard of it, at all, ever, until, what was it, a couple months ago when we did that book list thing, that recording that came out where we read our list. Until then, I had no clue what it was, never heard of it. And yeah, I thought it was some thing about sailing or something like that. Ended up being about rabbits. But yeah, so now to my thoughts on the book. I thought it was a good book. I read it. I just finished the book yesterday, something like that. And yeah, I thought it was I don't know. I initially also, whenever I first started the book, I thought it was going to be something more like Green Ember in a style where there are no humans. And then I read it a bit more, and I don't know, I actually like the style of this writing where they are rabbits normally, like normal rabbits and all that, except that it's just them communicating with each other. But they're normal rabbits with where they have to run away and hide from people or dogs or any other predator animal that will hunt rabbits or anything like that. And I thought it was a good storyline and all that, with these small group of animals having to move and find a new home. Warren, I think is what they were called.
Yeah, Warren.
I don't know. Yeah, a new Warren and all that. So yeah, I thought it was a good book. It was an interesting style of writing. I mean, or not writing, but a style to write about rabbits and all that, considering all I've read before was Green Ember style, where they are like humans in a sense, but they're rabbits. I forgot whatever term Cooper says it is. I don't know the name. But yeah, I thought it was good.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique style and contrasts a lot to kind of what Green Ember is and the style, I guess, of Green Ember. Because in Watership Down you get kind of these you get real rabbits, and it's kind of a contrast between a non-fiction book about rabbits and a fictional storybook about real live living rabbits. Mm-hmm. And it's definitely different than Green Ember, where you've got rabbits with swords fighting birds and such.
Yeah,
definitely different. A lot more fantasy.
I mean, they do fight
fantasy-oriented.
Some birds every once in a while, a little bit, but
it's a lot different though.
It's not much different. Yeah.
It's not like the birds have a malicious intent to destroy rabbits and wipe them off of the face of the earth.
Yeah. And they just act more like real rabbits would do. Scared, running all the time, and all that. Instead of fierce warriors like in Green Ember.
Yeah, I mean, in the Green Ember, they kind of go against their nature.
100%.
In a way. I mean, me and Cooper were just talking about this the other day on our Watership Down Part 2. Kind of the how that's the in the book of Watership Down, they're kind of it's bad to go against what like their fear, right? It's bad to go against and like not be tricksters, and it's bad to like go and not run away when you need to run away. But here in the Green Ember, it's much different than that. Like we need to go up against everything that a rabbit is in order for a rabbit to be a good thing. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Battle orientation of the books. Anyways, moving on to Ember's End. What did you think about Ember's End? What are your kind of opening thoughts on that?
Well, for Ember's End, I thought it was a really good book. I liked it a lot. It wasn't almost like it was super close to being, or how do I say this? It was almost my favorite book in the Green Ember series. The first one's just better, but I thought it was really good. And I mean, I pre-ordered it, and read it the day I got it in the mail and all that. So I really like this book, and yeah, that's about my thoughts.
Yeah, I personally pre-ordered it the day that I found it came out, which was probably the day that it came out on pre-order. And I pre-ordered it on Kindle, so I got it on midnight, the night that it released. And I woke up on midnight that day. And I'm like, guys, this book just came out. And I love the Green Ember so much. And so I did one of the most stupid decisions of my entire life and read the entire book before 6 a.m.
Dang. Okay. I mean, I read the whole book in one day, but I not like that.
I don't recommend it, but it definitely lived up to my expectations. I did have to go back and reread it though after that because
I reread it too like a month or so later.
Yeah, but I mean, between Watership Down and the Green Ember, I think that in a few respects, they're equal, and in a few other respects, they each have their differences that make them unique and kind of superior in their own special way.
Yeah, I will say I do I do like Green Ember a little bit more than Watership Down, but they're both pretty close. Like the Green Ember series, I mean.
Yeah, I think that really comes down to our personal preferences and styles for what we read.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I know that between you, me, and Cooper, and we just kind of read a lot of fantasy, right?
Oh, 100%.
And it's a lot of fantasy and sci-fi, and so to read something that's kind of like a nonfiction one, it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot harder to kind of like that one more, just because of our personal preferences and likes and dislikes.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So, Isaiah, what did you think about kind of the opening of Ember's End?
The opening. How did it open? I can't exactly remember how it opened.
We open up on... I've read these
so many times they all blend together.
Yeah. We open up on the first Warren being overtaken and being kind of like... We open up on a new first Warren that's been taken over by Princess Emma. And then we kind of move into I believe we move into we start flipping back and forth between Pickett and Heather's views again, with a few Emma thrown in between. And we find Heather down in the pits with
Smalls.
With Smalls, yes.
Or
and
Prince Smalden.
Prince Smalden. I don't know. I still like calling him Smalls. Still a much superior name. But what did you think of kind of like the opening? How did you think about the kind of cold start when we move into like when we go back to Heather and kind of waking up in their little small cave.
Okay, so I thought that the beginning of the book was good. Like I said, I pre-ordered this and read it the day I bought it. Like that, just sat and read the entire book. And I like how in the beginning, like, or not, I like how, but I don't know. I just like the beginning. I thought it was good in that I was definitely waiting for that beginning to figure out what was happening with Heather and Smalls and all that. So I really liked that. Actually, you found out more and that he was alive.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed that. I enjoyed kind of how Smith kind of he's the king of cliffhangers, if I have to be honest. Like, he figures out a way to end every book on like such a very sharp point where like you know exactly what he's meaning. And you know what's going to happen in the next book, that it just makes you really hype.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, folks, Cooper is back with us now.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I'm sure it was scary for many of our listeners to hear Tanner say coming up next. So, anyway, I'm glad I could be here. Yep. Are we gonna? You know what? I'm not gonna re-record it. We're just gonna leave it as Tanner doing it. Or Isaiah, did you do it? Who did
No,
it?
Tanner did it.
I did it.
Okay.
I flopped it the first time.
Nice.
So the second time
Hope
we
you
got
guys
it
didn't
perfect.
say anything. Oh, good. I hope you guys didn't say anything bad about Watership Down, because it's a perfect and beautiful book.
No, we didn't. I said I liked the book.
We just
No, I
said
know.
that it was
I
unique
got the
in
last
its
bit.
own unique way, and that
Yeah.
our personal preferences lean towards the Green Ember just because of our fantasy likes and dislikes.
Yeah, I caught that. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, personally, I like Watership Down better, but that's my preference for superior literature. So.
Cooper.
That's a joke.
Anyways.
Oh, anyway, I agree with Isaiah. The stuff with what's her Heather and Smalls is pretty fun down in the caves with the dragon dude.
Yeah, that guy.
Like, that adds a lot to the world building and lore, and
You know they're writing
really
a side
captures-
book about that, right? Like the
oh yeah, that's
backstory
right.
to the
Prince,
caves or whatever.
Lander and the Dragon King.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
that thingy.
Well, I thought it added to the world building, and he really got like the kind of like actually this. You guys know that person Stoles that Kanan like talks with a bunch and listens on like that weird planet. He's like a Force user, but he's not like good or bad. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
Like,
I think I know what
At
you're
the
talking
very
about.
beginning of the section with the dragons, it reminded me of that. Like, there's something foreboding about this creature, and I can't quite place it, despite their assurances. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I definitely like the kind of neutral bad guy.
Well, I mean, he's not. But at first, you think he is. Yeah.
At first. I mean, I enjoyed the kind of suspense of like what the heck is happening with this guy. That's
Yeah. For
weird.
sure. This guy.
That's weird. Yes.
Well, I guess I know you start off with like the beginning of the book, but you guys want to do like opening thoughts on Ember's End before we kind of dive into talking more specifically about it?
Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah,
already kind of
fair.
gave mine on it, so
Yeah, Tanner, what about you?
you guys go ahead.
My opening thoughts are kind of just I enjoyed I enjoyed how he led off after us figuring out that Smalls was alive at the end of the book. I'm very glad, if I remember correctly, he opened up with on Heather's point of view.
I
Sorry,
think
I
so,
actually
yeah.
think he opened up with Pickett. He was going on like a mission to try and get the Terralanders as allies, as I recall.
He was, and then we move
spent
into
a couple
Heather,
chapters with
so
him and then move over.
and then we have to move
Yeah.
over. That's right. I just remember the most notable part of the book being when I moved into Heather,
Yeah.
Heather's point of view in this
The
part of the
opening
story.
stuff, he doesn't that,
But
that big, so.
yeah. Anyways, I enjoyed Heather's point of view and kind of going into that. And I just think that overall, this is my favorite book out of all of the Green Ember. I feel like
Mhm.
everything kind of culminated at here, and kind of his crescendo of I don't know. It was something like, I think he has,
Yeah.
I think it's a 10 book
Yeah, that sounds right.
world now, if I remember correctly. 10 books.
No clue. Something like that.
It's 9 or 10. It's
Okay.
9 or 10, something like that.
I
It's
think
around the 10
it'll
book world.
be 10 whenever the new one comes out.
Oh, that's right. There's one more. Anyways, I liked kind of the culmination of his world building and kind of how he's built up everything around it. And honestly, I don't think anybody could really be super happy with Ember's End unless they've already gone and read all of his
Okay. Well, I
Tales of
haven't
Old
read those,
Natalia,
but
or
maybe that's why it is as much as you guys.
I don't even know how to say his world name anymore.
But
Yeah, I have no clue, bro.
okay, well, here's what I'll say. So there is, Endgame was not the best Marvel movie by any stretch of the
So
imagination.
you should go read those and
but
then
it's
reread
the number
it.
2 grossing movie of all time because it paid off amount of 20 movies of emotional growth. No, I'm not saying it's not bad. I'm saying you wouldn't say it's your favorite Marvel movie, right?
I mean, I actually really like
Sure,
Endgame,
but
so I don't know what you're talking
My
about.
point is, it made more money than any other Marvel movie by a large amount, and that's
It's
because
top 3.
there were 20 movies leading up to this, and it was the big conclusion. Now, I'm not gonna say it's a great movie just by itself but that's unfair to it. Does that make sense? But at the same time, I should be able to enjoy Ember's End without reading these side novels. This is part of the main series. So if that's if that's your argument for it being good, Tanner, then well, I feel vindicated. That's what I'll say. Okay, I'll agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll agree with that because if I didn't, that would force me into some weird.
I don't think he
Lord of
was
the
saying
Rings
that's the argument for it
dichotomies,
being good.
so.
It's just that it makes it better
Yeah.
with those.
Well, I guess I'll go ahead and give my thoughts. So I hinted at it. I didn't enjoy it as much as you guys. And here's the deal: we've talked about my not really cynicism, but Green Ember. Well, I've talked about it. I'm not as huge of a fan of the Green Ember as a lot of people are, but that's okay. And we've been talking about it. I recommend that people read this series. That's not what I'm trying to say, that you shouldn't read the series. And I was increasingly growing to like it as we progressed through the series. And then I was kind of scared to read Ember's End again because I've been enjoying the series. And I remember last time I didn't necessarily didn't enjoy it a whole lot. I'll just put it that way. And sure enough, it was not my favorite of the series. And mostly, I enjoyed the stuff with Smalls and with the Dragon King. I really felt like it couldn't rise above stereotypical fantasy tropes of a fantasy. That's a really weird sentence I said, but as in I mean I'm not complaining. There was a final battle against a dark villain, and then they won against the villain, because that's not what I'm trying to say. But what I am trying to say is the fact that there's not a reason that they win. In Lord of the Rings, the reason they win is because Sauron is so focused on the fact that he thinks they're going to destroy him with the ring that he doesn't ever, consider the fact that they might try to destroy the ring themselves. And in Green Ember, it's they have overwhelming odds, and then, they win. Why? Well, because they never were going to lose in the first place. So that's kind of my first complaint. And then secondly, my other complaint would be, I did not have the impression that the new Warren. What's the thing they say? The Green Warren. What's the thing they say? The first, not first Warren. You know what I'm talking about? Mended Wood. That's what it is. And I had no idea that after this book was going to be the Mended Wood. Did you guys have that impression at all?
Yeah, I do think that I did have the impression that was going to happen. I'd kind of seen it coming from all of the other stuff that I'd heard from the old from the history book kind of stuff.
Hold up.
No, okay, hold on.
My
Hold on.
point
I'll
again.
do it without proving your point, okay?
Cooper.
I did see
Cooper.
I did see that, or think that the Mended Wood would happen after they defeated Morbin, because that was the whole thing they were talking about, defeating Morbin, getting free of all their enemies and captors and all that, and then the Mended Wood would happen, and it would be their new Golden Age sort of type style, And so I didn't even really think about the backstories with this part. I'm more just thought, oh, they say that they want to get freedom from him and defeat him, and then they're doing it for the Mended Wood, so when they defeat him, it'll become the Mended Wood once they, like, kind of recuperate and, like, recover from the battle.
Okay, I guess that was just my fault. Okay, I'm willing to say it was half my fault, because I do feel like at some point he had to, like, explicitly say, after we defeat Morbin, the Mended Wood would come, or have some kind of prophecy or something like that. Because I did not get that impression at all. But if you guys did, then
Kidding.
it's probably partly my fault. So, yeah. Okay, and you're right. It could just be the fact, for me, it just came out of nowhere.
For no reason.
Oh, they defeated Morbin, yay! For no reason, no real reason. And then, okay. Sorry, I guess this is the part you couldn't hear me at. I was talking. One of my complaints was there is like no. Okay, so every fantasy novel, and I'm not complaining about this. Every fantasy novel, they have in order to defeat the dark villain, they have to come overwhelming odds, right? And so in this battle, they have to do the same. Like they literally say there is no way we can win. Like there is zero chance we can win, and then they just win. And it's like
that is
really
the reason
that they were going to lose in the first place. And it was like, no, but I wanted you to like make me think that we did. Anyway, all that was saying was I didn't feel like there was a real reason why they were able to overcome the overwhelming.
They had
That's what I meant.
Joe the Archer. That's why.
Yeah, sure.
He took out 2 of the Predator dudes with 1 arrow. So that was him. That's why.
And it was a cool illustration. Yeah, cool. Look, okay. Anyway, all I was saying was I didn't feel like this was sufficiently built up as like the final battle of all final battles. Then out of nowhere, they defeat Morbin. Then out of nowhere, death is eradicated. Being hyperbolic here to make my point.
It's not really out of nowhere if you had read the other books.
Tanner, stop talking about the other books. You're just proving his point.
At least I
know, but I can't do it without proving his point.
Honest opponent here. Anyway, sorry. It just came out of nowhere for me. So those are my opening thoughts. Other than that, it's fine. It was enjoyable. You should read it. So
cool.
What did we think about losing Helmer?
It had to happen.
Bro,
that
was
the best character.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of felt like it kind of had to happen, but like I kind of didn't want it to happen because like it's Helmer. Like,
I mean, like if you're telling a story, you gotta kill somebody, and Helmer was the obvious choice because, like as I said, it is Helmer. It's the character side character we have like the most emotional attachment to, so it makes sense for him to die. Any of you guys actually think Helmer was gonna live through the battle the first time you read it?
But still, I don't know. I didn't really know what I thought. I more like kind of felt like he would die.
Yeah.
But I kind of hoped he wouldn't. But then I also kind of thought that he would just like get injured really badly or something and have to like retire and go to a peaceful life or something. I don't know. I don't really know what I thought exactly at the time. It was also like, what, 2 years ago? A year ago?
Yeah.
However long ago it was. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. I was sad. I was really sad.
Yeah, Tanner cried his eyes out.
Hakuna Matata, the circle of life.
Hakuna Matata, the circle of life.
I listened to a podcast the other day, and they pointed out how lion-centric the circle of life is. Like, yeah, the lion eat the antelope, and then the antelope eat grass. Lions fertilize, but don't the antelope also fertilize the grass because the lions kill them? And why are the antelope bowing? Anyway, circle of life is very lion-centric. That's my hot take.
Okay, Cooper.
Back to the book.
Okay.
All right, back to the book.
His classic line. Anything else you guys want to say about Ember's End?
Good book. I would definitely recommend going and reading the main series and the side series if you can. But you don't need to read the side series. Just saying.
You don't need to. I agree. I just think
it does make it a bit better,
and that they add meat.
It makes Joe the Archer.
They add
even
substance. Better. It does make Joe the Archer better. I love
Shanks.
Joe, actually.
Yeah, seriously.
One of the best side characters. One of the best side characters. Yeah.
Anyway,
Cooper.
What does I say? Oh yeah, I feel like also it may have just been me. The writing took a downturn in this book, but again, I think it was just me. So whatever.
I think it was just you. Cooper's just like hates this book, you know, the bunny book, according to Matthew.
I don't. As we've talked about, people should read this. It's good. My only point is, I think there are better things out there, but again, oh my gosh.
No, there definitely are better things out there, like Harry
Anyway,
Potter, but still.
I think it was, but besides
Oh
the
my
fact that I did not see them into wood coming, I think it was a fairly satisfactory ending. You know, I think there is worth. I think it is, and I'm not saying this. This is. I really do think this is an honest criticism. Like, I really feel like they did not he did not find a way to overcome the stereotypical fantasy ending in a like cool or imaginative way. Like, I really feel like he could have done a better job justifying the win. I feel like he could have done a better job, like, you know, Emma and the king get together, and the war hero Pickett, he loses a limb or two, but he's still good. And the lovable side character dies, and we all are sad about that. Like, those are all things that happen in every single fantasy novel. So, and I just didn't feel like he translated it well enough.
Okay, folks, I'm going to make a list of everything that Cooper just stated as a stereotype, and then I'm going to compare it to his current fantasy novel that he's writing.
Fair enough. Okay, here's the deal.
And if any one of these things are in here, I
I'm
win.
not complaining these things are in there. I'm complaining he didn't like
I
do
win,
better with
wow.
them. I said I'm not complaining they're in every single fantasy novel ever. Yeah, I will. I'll do better than S.D. Smith. Let's do
Cooper,
it.
you need to do better with them.
When my book is done, I will publish it. It's not yet finished.
Patrons, you're going to get a copy of all of
the
this.
First book in a 2-book series. But once it's done, I'll release it. And you guys can see what you think. And Tanner, by the way, that is the first draft of the first third of it that you have in your possession. So please be aware that I will do at least a couple more drafts once I complete it. And there's the second book to go. No, I know. I'm totally fine. Let's do this.
I'm just joking with you, Cooper. I know that you're not. It's not going to be terrible. It's better than me. It's better than me. Mine
anyway,
would be like
we're not here
worse
to
than a
talk about
stereotype.
our books, though maybe one day we will be. Wouldn't that be fun? Any other things to say? Do you guys compare Green Ember at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, you compared that.
To some
Watership
extent.
Down was like way better.
a little
and
bit,
Green
yeah.
Ember wasn't. Okay, yeah.
Talking about like how the
Okay.
rabbits are more realistic in Watership Down, then yeah.
I do want to hear your thoughts on.
Totally.
I do want to hear your thoughts on this though, real fast, Cooper. We were talking about kind of how I mean, not really Isaiah, but more me, but
he was, yeah.
how in the Green Ember they have rabbits go against their nature, whereas in Watership Down it's like, what do you think about that? Like Watership Down, you have to go with your nature, otherwise it's bad. What do you think?
You're saying, like, you're referring to the fact that Morbin has rabbits on his side. The terror lanes for a minute are bad.
No, like how you're supposed to get over your fear and not be like afraid of heights or like all of that kind of stuff.
Oh, I see. So, I mean, first, I think taking into consideration the fact that the rabbits in Watership Down are real rabbits, pretty much, except for thinking and talking, and the rabbits in Watership Down and Green Ember, are basically human. Then yeah, if you're a human rabbit, basically, then yeah, it's totally natural for you to get over your fear. Like, dude, that's yeah. So, but in Watership Down, most of the stuff talking about like not being a rabbit was relying on humans for food, was not using the gifts that their god had given them to be able to avoid the villains, right? Going against the like human nature, like it's the same thing as like twisting God's design for humanity, right? Like honestly, in Watership Down, that's what it is. Like, you know, you know what I'm talking about, like a perversion of God's nature. If we humans did something against God's intended design for us, then we'd be not acting like humans. And the same thing is in Watership Down. But then in Green Ember, like, yeah, obviously part of our, like, there are two, okay, I'm back up. There are two natures. One, the good, perfect nature that God has created that we follow. And secondly, there's our sinful nature, which we ought not to follow. So in Green Ember, they're mostly focusing on the sinful nature that we ought not to follow. And in Watership Down, we're talking about the nature that God has created that we ought to walk in. Does that make sense? That's probably a better way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it does.
Good. Let's do some donor shoutouts, y'all. Oh, wait. Real fast. Quickly. Rank the Green Ember books best to worst. Go.
Okay. So, first book. My favorite. I think I said earlier in one of the earlier podcasts that it was my second favorite, but I reread it recently and it's better. First book is my
Okay.
favorite. Then it's this final one, Ember's End. Then what is it?
Yeah.
I forgot which one's which. Which one's the
Ember
second book?
Falls
Is it
is
Ember
second.
Rising or Ember Falls?
Okay, so
Okay, so
1,
Ember
4, 3,
Rising,
2.
then Ember Falls.
Okay, I'm gonna go 3, 2, 4,
Yes.
1.
Okay. And
Ooh.
I am 4,
Okay.
1, 3,
We all
2.
agree that 3, 2 is the correct ranking, and everything else changes from there. Let's do some donor shoutouts. So Isaiah, tell people where they would go if they won a donor shoutout.
You'd go to patreon.com/bookinit
That's
and
right.
donate to any of our
And I'm
tiers that
going
are
to
$5
read out the
and up.
donors, and you're going to tell me if they belong in a Watership Down or a Green Ember, okay? So we've got Nana,
Okay.
Van Pappy and Wayla,
Watership Down.
Mike and Sylvia,
Watership Down.
Mike and Laura,
The Green Ember.
and Jenny and Uncle
The Green Ember.
Moses,
Watership Down.
Zara,
Watership Down.
Anna,
The Green Ember. I'm just saying
Emily.
that right now.
Okay. Emily, Watership Down.
Becky,
The Green Ember.
and Lizzie. Did I already say that?
Green Ember.
Okay. And then Keenan.
Watership Down.
Yeah. Make sure if you guys can, please support us. It really helps us out, be able to continue producing these for you guys. Another thing you can help us out is leaving us a 5-star rating and review. I talked about it last time, or a couple times ago. We've gotten some really nice reviews from people that we did not know before we started the podcast, and that's really it makes my heart feel warm. That's what I'm trying to say, warm and fuzzy as we go into this Christmas season. So if you want Cooper's heart to feel more warm and fuzzy, that he will cry even more when watching It's a Wonderful Life, make sure you leave us a 5-star rating and review. And of course, share this podcast with your friends, as always. We'll see you next time with hopefully a Christmas Carol on Christmas Day. And until then,
Keep on booking it.